guys, it's Marissa here from Little House Living. I had a lot of requests a couple weeks ago to go over how I plan out my garden. So I'm going to try to do that for you today. I'm going to try to not make this super long for you. But I am going to start with how I start and how I pick out the seeds, and then go over my plan and then how I map out everything in the garden. So, okay, so first things first, we start with the seeds. Usually I don't have a ton of seeds left from year to year. I try to plan it out pretty well. I have not been good at saving seeds. That's one of my goals for this year, so hopefully I can work on that. But otherwise, I try to use up what seeds I have and then start over the next year. So I have to have the paper catalogs to be able to buy seeds. I like to look at this stuff online and I like being able to search for things, but there's just something about paper catalogs that is helpful to me, and I like to look at all the codes and the keys and all that kind of stuff when I am picking out seeds. So I don't actually have any of the catalogs that I ordered from because they were so worn out by the time I ordered my seeds back in December already that I don't have them. But this one came in the mail yesterday, so we're going to use this one as our example. I did order seeds from Johnny's, and I'll show you why in just a little bit. But so I go through the seed catalog and pick out the different varieties that I want to grow. Not just the specific kinds of seeds, but like, do I want to grow tomatoes this year? Do I want to grow lettuce? And then I go back through and pick out which kinds I want to grow. Some of that is based off of what I grew before and what works really well for our area. And then some of it is just based off of things that I want to try, or particular things that I want to try to deal with. So like if there's something that has a natural disease resistance to something I had issues with the year before, then I'm going to try to find something else. So yeah, so that's what I do. So I go through and I pick out the seeds. So for me, I'm in zone 4B, and I have to find seeds that under 75 days is the very best. And I really don't want stuff that even goes up that far. Tomatoes, all of that kind of stuff that takes longer. I have to be really careful to order the shorter season stuff. Our estimated last frost day is always around the 1st of June, and then the first frost day is around the beginning of September. So sometimes it's been longer than that, and sometimes much shorter. It's weird weather here, so we have to plan based off of those, that shorter season. My other issue here is that I'm growing in an area where we have to haul in all of our water. That is not going to be an issue for me this year. With our new land that we bought last year, I actually have a well now where the garden is going to go. So that's not as much of a concern for me. I still don't want to use a ton of water. I like to have stuff that does better in drier conditions because we don't get a lot of water here, and I just don't want to overuse even our well. So anyway, I plan that into the seeds that I pick out as well. So that being said, let's see, there was one more thing. I just wanted to mention the other thing when I pick out seeds, and I'll show you an example with so with my carrot seeds. I have 3 different kinds of carrots here. And I'll talk about my garden. My garden this year is kind of different, so I'll talk about that in just a minute. But for like carrots, I have 3 different kinds of seeds. We've got some dragon carrots. Those are the purple ones. And then, I don't even know what these are called. But these are like a baby carrot. These are an early carrot. And this one is called a bolero carrot. And these are a storage carrot. So I will be growing all these different kinds of carrots because the early carrots we'll use to eat for fresh eating throughout the summer. And then the storage carrots will be for storage in our root cellar later on. So we won't eat any of these in the summer unless we have to. And then these carrots are more of a specialty, and the kids will eat some of them, and then the rest we're planning to sell at the farmer's market. So that's kind of one of the other things that I consider when I am planning out what I'm going to buy. what is going to be for our fresh eating throughout the summer, and then what are we going to store for later. And then this year my thought was, what can I sell? So that was what I had in mind as I was going through the catalog and picking out the different things. And when I go over some of these seeds, I will show you in a couple other instances why I picked the things that I did. But so those are the reasons that I pick out the seeds that I do. They have to be a good fit for our area. So shorter season, low water, and then I also have to plan for storage and for the winter, and this year I have to plan for a market garden. So that being said, so I got all of my seeds ordered, all of the things that I want to be able to grow this year, the things that I want to be able to store, the things that I want to be able to can, and the things that I want to be able to sell. And once I was all done doing that, then I drew up my garden plans for this year. So normally I wouldn't have to draw up a brand new garden, but this year I have a brand new garden, or I will have hopefully in April. I don't have one yet. So I am no longer going to be planting any of the annual vegetables in my regular garden, which is up here by the house. That garden is going to turn into all perennial stuff that takes less water. And then all of the annual stuff is going to go down in our other garden that will be by the well. So this might be helpful for somebody if you're planning a brand new garden. So what we did first is we went and walked off the area, and it actually helps to do it now when there's snow on the ground. That way I can see where the snow lays, kind of where the low-lying areas are, where the water sits, all of that. And we drew out a space, or mapped out a space that's 60 by 100. I'll actually eventually have 2 spaces that are this size, but for this year, we can only do so much fencing in a year, and we have to put in elk fencing, which means the fence needs to be at least 6 or 7 feet tall and pretty heavy duty, because we have a pretty big herd that comes through here. So 60 by 100 is the biggest we're gonna get this year, and that's fine. I'm gonna have more than enough space. So what I did was I mapped it out, and then this is obviously not to scale or anything professional whatsoever, but then just with my calculator, I figured out how much space I need to have around the edges, so we have some walking space. I wanted to leave a 6-foot walkway in the middle so that we're still able to get our skid loader and some big wheelbarrows and stuff straight through the middle of the garden. And then all of these lines are the beds. I'm going to be using a no-till method in this garden, and so each of these beds are 25 feet long by 30 inches wide. So I have, I think I had space for 24 beds on each side, so a total of 48 beds. I'm pretty sure that's correct. Yep, and then a 6-foot walkway in the middle. So that's what my space is going to look like this year, and that's for almost all of this stuff. I'll show you what's not going to go in there. But that's the space I have. So once you have the dimensions of what your space is going to be, or what your garden beds are going to be, then you can figure out what needs to be in it. So that is what this sheet is, also not to scale or anything special. I will have to write these again because I'll get these so dirty by the time planting comes, because I have to start a bunch of this inside. So then I figured, I went and I wrote down each of the different varieties of stuff that I'm gonna plant. So like sweet corn, I've got one kind of sweet corn. It's just something that we're trying. I did find a short season sweet corn. It's kind of hard to find. And then all you have to do is, so this one doesn't have it. Oh, this does have it on the packet. So on the front of the packet, or on the website, wherever you got your seeds from, it'll say how far apart the seeds need to be, and how, like, in how many rows and how far apart the rows have to go. So if you look at that, then you can figure out how many rows that you can have in the space that you have, and how many plants that you can have in that space, because this will tell you how close together you can have them. And then once you do that, you can figure out how many plants you need for that space and how many plants you need to start. So obviously corn, I'm not going to start inside, but something like the, let's see, the tomatoes, that all has to be started inside. Let me see if I can find my, on the back. So I wrote that I'm going to have 2 beds full of tomatoes. So that's 2 25-foot beds full of tomatoes. There'll be 1 staggered row that goes down because they don't need to be next to each other. They can be kind of staggered, and I can fit more in the bed, of 20 plants in each bed. So I'll be able to plant a total of 40 tomato plants. And then I also wrote a note that I'm gonna have 15 tomato plants in the greenhouse because I want to compare which one grows better. But I used just to figure all of that out, I just used all of the information that was right on the seed packet that says how far apart the plants need to be and how far apart the rows have to be. So that was why with tomatoes we can do the staggered row because they have to be a little bit further apart. I think most of my tomatoes are indeterminate, which means I'll have to string them up. But that was how I figured that out. And let's do another one. So peppers, I only have 1 kind of pepper. I think. I don't even know where it is. There's too many seeds. Okay, yes, I just bought banana peppers this year because we want to pickle them. We use some other peppers for canning, but it's such a small amount. I didn't really feel like it was worth my time to buy a whole bunch of pepper plants, and my mom tends to grow a bunch of peppers, so we can trade. But I bought banana peppers, and I think it's this one. Yep, it says on here 12 to 18 inches apart. And so we are doing 1 bed of the banana peppers. There'll be 2 rows in the bed because they have to be 12 to 18 inches apart. My bed is 30 inches wide, and then there can be 25 plants in each row because they have to be 12 to 18 inches apart, and my bed is 25 feet long. So I can plant 25 plants in this for a total of 50 pepper plants, which is more than enough for us. And then I think the seed packet has 50 peppers in it, so I'll use this entire seed packet. A couple of these calculations were based on how many seeds that I bought and how many I wanted to plant. So some of them I needed more beds for, like the beans, because I have a ton of beans. But anyway, that is how I planned out and how I typically plan out how many seeds I'm going to plant. The nice thing about this is that once you know how many you can plant outside, then that determines how many you plant inside. Because I've had plenty of years where I way overplanted my seed starts inside to put outside, and then I had no space for them and just had to give away the starts. So with this, I know exactly how many. I know that I need, let's see, I need 20 plus 20, 40, 55 tomato plants to plant in my entire space, because that is all the space I have for tomatoes. And these, each of these sections is a different variety of plant, and this is my entire garden. So this will take up that entire 100 by 60 foot space, because this is all the annual vegetables that goes over in that garden. But like I said, I started just with this, and I drew everything out first and figured out how many beds are going to fit in here and the size of the bed, and then I could figure out how much I could plant in each of the beds based on the information that it gives you on the seed packet. So that's how I do that. So once I have that all done, then I use a seed calculator, and I will, I'll link the one that I used. I think it was just a chart, but you can put in your last frost date and it will tell you when to start the seeds, which is super helpful if you don't want to look at the back of every single one of the packets and try to figure out what that looks like. So once I had that calculator up on my computer, I went through my planner and I wrote down which day I need to start which kind of seeds. So I just opened it up here to a day. April 17th is when I need to start. I'm going to try to grow popcorn this year, so I need to start the popcorn seeds inside. The season is super long for those, so I'm just going to start them in a big tray and then put them out in a test area that I have. I need to start the okra seeds inside, and that's what I have to start on that day. And then the calculator that I used, like I said, I'll link it down below, also said then which day they can go be planted outside, not just when you plant it inside. So let's turn to May. So even though my last frost date is estimated, I think it's actually the end of May, there's stuff that we can plant outside before that. So on May 1st, I will be doing all of these things. Starting the watermelon seeds, starting the other melon seeds, starting the pumpkin seeds, and then outside I will be starting the beets, the broccoli, the cabbage, kind of that stuff that can tolerate a little bit of frost. And I do have frost blankets for all my stuff too, so if it does come up and tends to, like the germination is really quickly, before we have our last frost date, then I can go ahead and cover all that up. Just in case, which is always a good idea. So I just put that all in my planner, and then I know exactly what days stuff has to happen. The nice thing about this, like this day happens to be a lot of stuff that I'm going to be planting outside, but for most of the weeks, it's just a couple things that I'm either planting inside or planting outside. Like here, May 15th, the corn needs to be planted in the ground. That's the corn seed, not the popcorn. But the nice thing is that I won't feel so overwhelmed like I have to do everything all at once. I've just got everything in my little planner of when it needs to go out and when it needs to be planted inside. So I've already started on that. It is the middle of February right now when I'm shooting this video. And I have planted my onions. I have started rhubarb just because I didn't know how that was gonna go. It's probably gonna be pretty big by the time I put it outside, but that's okay. And then in a couple days, I believe I'm planting apple seeds, which is a whole new experiment for me. I'll just talk about that briefly in a minute. Okay, so I'm gonna go over the seeds. I'm not gonna spend a ton of time on them. I'll just kind of touch on a couple varieties that worked really well for us in the past and why I'm trying out some other ones now. I already brought up the corn. So we're trying one kind of popcorn this year. We really want to grow popcorn, and this popcorn happens to be from North Dakota. So I'm thinking it might grow well here. And then we are trying a short season sweet corn this year. So those are experimental. I don't know if they're going to work. I did grow sweet corn the first year that we lived here, and it grew extremely well, but it didn't have enough time to finish. So I'm hoping that this one, I think this, 72 days on this one, which is pretty short for corn. I'm hoping that it can finish, but we just got one packet of each because I'm not sure. So that's the corn. And then the carrots I kind of already went over. I've got the carrot that I'm going to be selling at the market, and then the storage carrots to go in the root cellar later, and then these early carrots, the baby carrots that we're going to eat throughout the summer. So, and I think, you'll see when I show the packets. I ordered from about 3 different places. I might have had a couple packets left from last year, but they'd be very few. Most of my seeds I get from Pine Tree. They are out of Maine, and so they're not the same altitude, but a similar zone. Their seeds work really well for me. A lot of the seeds I got from Johnny's, mostly because I can get the bigger packets, and I needed them this year. And then I also got quite a few seeds from High Mowing, who I also order from every year, and they do the bigger packets as well for some of the stuff. They just had some special varieties that I couldn't get somewhere else. So those were my 3 main companies that I ordered seeds from, and then there's a couple random ones. All right, so for beans, I did get this is a dried bean. I don't know if it's gonna work for us or not. This is another experiment for me. And then I got these, I got several packets of these. They're called Tongue of Fire, and those you can use as a fresh bean or you can use as a dried bean. So I figured either way that it works, we'll find out, but we can use them. And then every year I've always grown these red swan beans. They're really pretty. Last year they did not work very well. The beans were really short, and we ate them, but they were just kind of like stunted. So I only ordered 1 packet this year to see how that goes. And then the rest of my beans are, I ordered the Goldilocks bean this year from Johnny's because I could get the big package. We like the yellow beans. We don't like the green beans. None of these beans actually that I am growing are green. There's the yellow, the pink, and then the tongue of fire is like a striped purple. We just prefer the ones that are pretty. I find them easier to pick than the other ones because they're not green like the plant. But I was really happy that I could order the big pack because I usually end up having to buy so many packages of beans. So this is really helpful for me. And then we've got the other varieties too. So we can a lot of beans, we eat a lot of canned beans, and then hopefully I can sell some of the like more specialty varieties because they'll be really pretty for the market. So for peas, I also got big packages. I think I got the pound for both of these. This is a snap pea and this is a snow pea. So one of them, mostly the kids just eat it. I just plant it for them, which is fine. And then the other one, I plant the snow peas. We blanch those and freeze them and use them in stir fries later in the winter. So we eat quite a bit of those, and it was just worth it for me to get the big packs of those seeds instead of the little ones. My squash is not all here yet, so I can't show you. I had several varieties that were back ordered. But this is the kind that I grew last year. I'll just show you that one. This kind grows better with less water, which is nice because I'm sure that if you grow zucchini, you know that on a hot day, it looks like the plant is dead. This one didn't do that. It actually can tolerate the drier conditions a little bit better. So we got that. I don't know if I ordered this or if this was leftover. This is a golden zucchini. And then I got some of the little patty pan squash too. We like these pickled. We like to pick them really small and then pickle them. They're super good. So, and then I have a couple other varieties coming. One that's supposed to be similar to this one that tolerates the warmer weather better. And then I think I have some kind of yellow squash too, but those were back ordered from, and I think they were back ordered from High Mowing. So hopefully they'll come here in the next couple weeks. I don't have to plant them yet though, so we have some time. All right, this is well, I already showed you the banana peppers. I have not ordered from MI Gardener before, but my mom ordered and I really wanted banana peppers and I forgot to order them elsewhere. So we ordered this. And then tomatoes. I have a lot of kinds of tomatoes, even though I'm only planting like 50 plants. But all of the tomatoes, find some with pictures here. All of the tomatoes that I'm planting are like a multicolor or a different color. I'm not planting anything that's not true. I was gonna say I'm not planting anything plain, but I do have these paste tomatoes. Otherwise, all of the tomato varieties that I picked for this year are just kind of multicolor, pretty. I have a couple different ones of the cherry type tomatoes. My kids just like to eat these right off the plant. And we use these for sun-dried tomatoes, which are super good. And I freeze them to use throughout the winter in like eggs and different casseroles and stuff. So these are mostly pretty. I will can tomatoes. I don't can a ton of tomatoes. I mostly can like ketchup or taco sauce or something like that. So I will probably use wherever the paste tomato. I've not planted this variety before, but it had really good reviews on High Mowing. It said it was one of their most popular paste tomatoes. So I will probably can mostly the stuff that comes off of that plant. And the rest of these will either be for fresh eating or selling at the market. All right, what else is in here? My husband really wanted us to try ground cherries this year, so I've never grown them before. If you have tips, let me know, but we're gonna give them a try. And then this is cucumbers. I picked this Adam cucumber for my picklers this year. It's like a baby, tiny cucumber. I thought that would work the best for pickles because we really like them really small. So that's a new variety for me. I haven't tried it yet. And then I don't even know what these are. These are this one I got for fresh eating. It's just like a nice spineless cucumber that, only goes about this big. And then I got an Asian cucumber as well. Also something I've not tried yet, but I just wanted to give it a shot. I grew cucumbers successfully for the first time last year, so I'm feeling very motivated by my success. So I got 3 varieties this year. Prior to that, I had no luck growing cucumbers whatsoever, and I would just trade with my mom for cucumbers. So I'm kind of excited this year though. All right, the onions, most of my onions I ordered from Starts. I ordered them from Dixondale. I can link their website below. I find them just easier to grow from Starts, but there was a couple of varieties, these 2, that I wanted to try to grow because they're really pretty. Can you tell? I'm into the stuff that's really pretty. But I planted these from seed, and they are currently attempting to germinate in my living room, so we'll see how that goes. And then I ordered a purple bunching onion this year. So these will be for like cut green onions later or throughout the summer. I think that'll work pretty good. I'm not sure why this is in here. Okay. Okay, beets. Our favorite beets are the candy striped beets. They do not taste like beets. They're really sweet and delicious, and we like to roast them. And then we also like the yellow beets as well, or the golden beets. So that's all the beets that I'm planting this year. I don't plant regular beets because we don't use them for anything else. These will store really good in our root cellar, but we'll probably also use them for fresh eating in the summer as well. Let's see, I way overbought in the melons. I've actually I wouldn't say I've never successfully grown melons here, but it is a struggle because our season is so short, but we absolutely love melons. So these are the 2 regular melon kinds I got this year. Both of them are a pretty short growing melon. This one, I'm not sure on this one. Well, this one is 80 days, so I'll probably have to start that one a little bit sooner. This one is 75 days. And they don't get super big, so I'm really hoping that we can grow our own melons. I think it was the first or second year that we were here, I grew melons successfully, and then the voles came and ate them all. So that was a really sad day. But, so I got those for melons, and then I got a couple kinds of watermelon because watermelon is my absolute favorite. And I will eat an entire watermelon in a day if someone doesn't stop me. But I found this, I actually bought this last year but didn't get a chance to plant it. This is supposed to be a bush type watermelon. So I'm anxious to see like how this grows because I've not done that before. And then I got these 2 kinds of watermelon because I couldn't decide for one of them. Both of these were short. They're 75 and 76 days, which is really short for a watermelon. I think they were still supposed to be around 5 to 10 pounds, which is a pretty good size watermelon. But we'll try them and see how they go. This would make me super happy if they work. So we'll try those. Also new for me this year is sunflowers. We eat a ton of sunflower seeds. We can't do nuts in our house because my husband has an allergy, but we eat a lot of sunflower seeds. So I thought if I can grow them, then we can harvest them ourselves. I've not grown them before. Sunflowers grow really well in South Dakota, but mostly on the prairie. I'm not sure how they're gonna grow up here in the hills, but I have a whole section out for this, and I just got one packet. There's 250 seeds in this one. I'm planning on planting them all and seeing how that goes for us. All right, I mentioned okra. I think these are both similar. They're a red type of okra. Again, like the beans, I got these because I thought they'd be easier to pick because you can see them on the plant easier. I meant to plant okra last year and then completely forgot until about the end of August, and by then it was too late. So I would like to have some okra to pickle. That's why we're planting that. All right, this massive mound back here is all of the greens. It's a lot. I might have put I don't even know. I'm just gonna briefly go through this. So celery is something I I had luck with last year until it hailed and then I lost it. So we're gonna try it again this year. It has to be started inside because the season is super long. I got the Chinese pink celery and then the tango celery, which is a pretty common kind. So I'm really hoping that that will go well, but I'm not sure. That's another experiment. And then these are just a bunch of mixed greens. I actually bought these for something else that I was gonna do and it never worked out. So I have all of these seeds that are just like random endive and arugula and leafy green, like so many different kinds of things that I'm gonna plant this year. And I obviously am not gonna plant all of these seeds. I'll just do a nice variety in the bed so we can have a good variety. One thing that we do really like is these cat soy greens. I grow this instead of spinach. It grows extremely well for me. Spinach does too, but we just like the flavor and the texture of this a little bit better. So that's what I'm doing instead of that. And then I've got the Swiss chards, of course. Those grow really well for us. And then I am trying an iceberg lettuce this year. That's new. This one is like a shorter season. Iceberg is actually quite a long season, which I was surprised by when I was looking through it. But this one's 57 days, so probably not as tight of a head of iceberg, but I want to try it and see how it goes. And then I know I mentioned this in my video from last year, but my favorite lettuce seeds are, or no, maybe I was just trying them last year. These are really good. This lettuce performed for us all summer last summer. It didn't bolt at all, and it never got like the wilty like it gets when it gets hot. So this is Lovelock lettuce and magenta. Really, they're both very similar and we liked them the same. I'm actually currently growing these in my hydroponics because we missed them and we liked them so much. But this is the first lettuce that I've ever grown that doesn't do that wilty thing when it gets really hot and they haven't had enough water, and it doesn't bolt. I grew this all summer, probably until the very end of August, before I finally had some that started to bolt. So I highly recommend these. Sorry. I highly recommend these if you are in a similar climate to mine where it's really dry, and or if you just are looking for something that doesn't bolt quickly. Those worked really well for me. And somewhere in here I lost some of my seeds. I don't know where they went. I think it's these. So something I'm gonna try this year that was new in the Johnny's catalog, maybe I can find it really quick, is a shorter season broccoli. So I grow broccoli every year and it grows really well for me, but they had this mini broccoli. So kind of like broccolini, but they have a bunch of different varieties and most of them are ready in less than 30 days. That's huge. That means I can get a bunch of harvest. This can come up really quickly. It can be ready to harvest really quickly, and I can get a bunch of harvests out of these. So I think I got either 1 or 2 different kinds, and then no, I didn't get the sprouting cauliflower, but they had a kind of, it was called green cauliflower. Let me look it up. No, it wasn't green. Green stem cauliflower. I can't find the package right now, but this is the kind that I got. And this is only 42 days. I have a lot of trouble with cauliflower here. I'm not sure why, but the heads, they grow really nice and then they just separate really quickly and there's like no in between time. Broccoli's done well for me, cauliflower not so much. So this is, oh, there's a picture of it right down here. So it just, I mean, it looks like cauliflower florets or something. I'm excited to try it and see how well it works. I'm really excited about the short growth period for both of these things. So that's probably, I'm probably most excited to grow those this year because we really love broccoli and we eat a lot of broccoli and cauliflower. So if that works out well for us and we can use that in the mini broccoli and stir fry and stuff, I think we'll be really happy with it. Okay, so last part of the main seeds, I promise, is my ridiculous obsession with pumpkins this year. I don't know. I had a bunch that I wanted to try, and I didn't realize that I ordered this many kinds. But let me go through this with you. So I got a baby pie pumpkin for pumpkin. We eat quite a bit of that. So I will probably can that in chunks so we don't have it in the freezer. This kind, I don't even remember what it is. I think all of these are pie pumpkins. So I'm gonna experiment with those 3 varieties and see which one does best. Now these 2 kinds of pumpkins they have the hulless seeds inside of them. We eat also, like sunflower seeds, we eat a lot of pumpkin seeds too. And the thought of trying to crack open a bunch of pumpkin seeds to get to the raw seed inside was not very appealing to me. So I found these 2 kinds of pumpkins, and they produce a hulless seed. And now I'll have to look up which one was which. But I think this one, the pie pita one, because it says dual purpose. I think that one was the one where the flesh of the pumpkin is still good, and you can eat this hulless seeds. This one, it said that the flesh is not very good, but it has the hulless seeds. But the flesh of the plant was really good to feed to animals. So I bought both kinds to try to see which one that we like better. I'm gonna have pumpkins coming out my ears, I'm pretty sure, because pumpkins grow really well for me. I don't know why I did this, but it'll be a fun experiment when it happens. So that is it of the main seeds, and I was just gonna show you, I do store all of my seeds in a Pelican case, so it's airtight and it's dark. And then if I have any left over, they last just fine till the next year. But I typically buy my seeds in like November or December. The last couple years, the seeds have been selling out super fast, and I'm very particular on what varieties I buy. So it works better for me to buy stuff quite early, and then I just go ahead and put it in this case until it's ready. Okay, last thing that I wanted to show you is something I mentioned before. So I thought that it would be really cool if I can learn how to grow some of my own fruit trees from seed. So, and I realized that it's not just as easy as putting a fruit tree seed in the ground. There's a little bit more to that. So I ordered these seeds this year from, yes, this is called Sheffield's. And they have seeds for tons of different types of plants, not just fruit trees. But I ordered a Siberian crabapple, a peach, and raspberry. So all of these seeds had to be cold stratified, which means I had to wet some paper towel. Actually, I had to soak the seeds for 24 hours first, wet some paper towel, put the seeds in the paper towel, and put them in the fridge for a certain amount of time. So some of these are really long, like the raspberries have to cold stratify for 90 days before I can plant them. The first one is gonna be the Siberian crabapple. That one has 30 days, and it's actually up next week. So I'm gonna start planting those seeds. And then I also bought these, it got all wet, the package got all wet, but these are a alpine strawberry, so a wild strawberry, which actually grows here naturally. We don't have any on our property, but in the hills there are some of these wild strawberries. This was also one that had to cold stratify. I can't remember how many days on this one, but I've got it in my book somewhere. So I thought if I can grow all these things from seed, I can save myself a ton of money in the future, because I usually spend a lot of money on strawberry plants and raspberry plants and stuff like that every year, because we're trying to build up what we have at the moment. And I still bought plants for this year. I might have bought a couple raspberries, but I bought a new variety of strawberries. I bought some dewberries, a lot of stuff. We're gonna be really busy in April and May planting all the plants, but I really wanted to try this. The process really is not that complicated to do it. It just takes a lot of extra time. So I'm excited to see if it works. I mentioned before too, I got rhubarb, which I thought also had to cold stratify, but it doesn't. So I've started that already, and that is growing extremely well. It was super easy. You just plant it just like you do any of these other seeds. And then you plant it outside in the summer. You don't harvest it the first year. Very similar to asparagus. So that was a lot easier, and I paid like $3 for a packet of 100 seeds, where that would be the cost of one rhubarb plant if I was to actually buy the plant. If I could even get it for that. So I'm really excited to see how this goes. I feel like this was a year of experimenting for me, or will be a year of experimenting for me. But I have more space now, and I have a well. So those things make a huge difference when it comes to planting seeds. Before, I was very restricted to just a couple raised beds, and then last year I had the greenhouse. But we have very limited water because we have to haul it all into our house. So I didn't want to go overboard with the plants, but this year I can. So I'm trying all of the different things. So that was a lot of chit chat and a lot of information, and I'm sure that I will forget to put some of the links in. I will try to remember, but if you have questions on anything, just leave a comment and let me know, and I will try to get back to you as soon as I can. I know that there's a lot of people that are starting brand new gardens this year, so hopefully this wasn't too overwhelming for you. Even though I'm planting this all in a new place, obviously this isn't really a new garden for me. But it is new with having the plants that I'm starting from seed, and then the plants that I'm trying to grow for market, and then just trying to plant enough so that we have all of the stuff that we're going to can, and hopefully I won't have to get like green beans in bulk from somewhere else like I have the last couple years. I'm really hoping to grow all that myself this year. So hopefully this video was helpful for you. Like I said, if it wasn't, or if you have questions, just leave comments down below and I'll try to get to them later, but I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching.